Yesterday, a lot of people talked about failures and how you needed to have a failure to move on to successes. So I started thinking about that. What's my failure? And before I came to Providence in '95, I was in New Hampshire for 16 years being a principal of a school, thinking I'm doing a fantastic job. The dropout rate went way down in the school I was running. The college attendance rate went way up, and doing well. And then the board changed, and a very conservative board came in. This was the poorest town in the poorest state in New Hampshire, and they fired me. And how many people have been fired here, by the way? Let me see. All right, you're proud. How many really been fired? Raise that hand. They'll come up to me after and tell me. So this board decided to fire me. For a lot of the reasons, a lot of the innovative reasons that I thought I was a great leader, they were firing me. So we went through this whole very heavy 2-year process that actually went to the state Supreme Court in New Hampshire. But an interesting thing came out of it. The reporter in the next town from me decided to write a book about the story and myself. Well, who loves a book the best but my mother? Writing a book about her son, and my mom lived in L.A., and I would call her and say, Mom, they're writing a book about me, and she's all excited, telling everybody that. And then they sent me the actual cover of the book that says Doc, the story of Dennis Littky and his fight for a better school, and I sent that to my mom, so she had that up right on her kitchen table. And every Sunday when we talked, she'd ask me, is the book out yet? And I kept saying, no. And I think she didn't really believe they were doing a book on her son. And then one Sunday she calls and I said, Mom, the book is out. So like any good mom would do, she dressed all up. She tells me this afterwards. She dresses up, goes out to the corner bookstore, Barnes & Noble. She doesn't even look for the book. She just goes in and says as loud as she can, they wrote a book about my son, Doc. Do you have it here? Make sure everybody looks. And she's walking around. And the guy goes in the back room, and then he comes out with a very funny look on his face. And my mom's, she's remembering there's a picture of her son and students. He comes out with this book called Doc, which turns out is about a medical doctor who raped his patients in Utah. It's a true story. This hit the bestseller list. My mom read this one, and she kind of crawled out of the store. I don't think she came out of her apartment for about 2 weeks. And my publisher didn't know that. And I called my publisher and said, whoa, there's a book out, Doc, that just hit the bestseller list. So when they put out the paperback, they quickly changed and called it Teacher. They got a little worried. And one day I'm giving a talk, and there's about 2,000 people in the audience, one of these big talks. And I look in the front row, and there's a woman holding this book down. And I'm going, uh-oh, why is she here? Does she know this is not me? And then a couple years ago, it was interesting. They republished the book, and they looked at my students' hairdos, and they said, they can tell that this is back in the 80s. So we had to go do it again with the new hairdos that they put out, and they called it Doc again. They figured that's out. And then what happened, came out of this, is I started getting calls about doing a movie. And I don't know if you used to watch L.A. Law, but Michael Tucker played me in the movie, and Jill Eikenberry, a teacher, called A Town Torn Apart. I was still working at the school. That's not the most beautiful title you can get. I brought many here, and I'll tell you how I'm giving them out. So I was in New Hampshire for 16 years around this. I stayed 6 years after we won the victory. I did live. I'll tell you the end of the film. And then I moved on. I came to Brown in '95. And then the Commissioner of Education, I had a good reputation in the past of running schools, asked myself and my colleague Elliot Washor if we'd set up this school that was kind of on the books, the Metropolitan School. And being cocky then, I guess I'm cocky all the time, I was thinking about that. I had said to Elliot, well, I'm kind of old now, so I can say whatever I want. And he said, you've been saying anything you want for the last 30 years. But I told Commissioner McWalters, we do the school if we can do it exactly the way we want. And he actually said yes. So then we really had to do it. So we began to design the school. We really closed our eyes and said, if we didn't know there was such a thing as school, what would schools look like? And we started with a mantra, as Sal said, one student at a time, and really what's best for students. That's what was going to be it. And I'll explain it a little more in a while, but it's a school that's completely student-oriented. And so I brought some students here who, by the way, usually I'm the worst dressed at a place. And Gary, where's Gary? You really outdid me. Did you see what he wore yesterday up here? I tell you. And then my students, you'll see I didn't dress them because they came with ties this morning. So I'm going to have a couple students just talk to you about the school, and then I'll debrief on it. So let's give a hand to Melvin.
Good morning, everyone. Is this thing on? Oh, yep, okay. Good morning, everyone. As Doc has told you, my name is Melvin, and I'm a senior at the Met High School, and I'm here to talk to you about what the Met has done for me. And before I get into that, I'll get into a little bit before. My life before the Met wasn't exactly too positive. Let's just say I was one of those kids that spent a lot more time in the principal's office than he did going to recess. I was always in trouble, always throwing ice cream cones. Oh yeah, a lot of stories. I'm pretty sure for all those you have kids or nephews, those little candy boxes, the boxes with candy that they go fundraising. Yeah, in first grade, they gave that to me, and I thought it was for myself. I mean, I took those $40, I was like, yeah, free $40, all right. I mean, I did everything but give the money back, and by the time I came back to school, and they were like, hey, what are you doing, where's the money? Like, I bought some toys with it. So yeah, I mean, it was really rough. Heading into my middle school years, I mean, I started really starting to grow up in the wrong area, wrong kind of state of mind. Started using drugs, getting involved in gang life. And I mean, yeah, it just really wasn't going well. I mean, I was getting suspended like every other week, fights, I mean, just disrespecting authoritative figures. I mean, I had a big problem with authority. That was one of my major issues. I heard about the Met through a presentation that they did at my school. And honestly, I heard about the Met and they started talking about it like, yeah, and I said, whoa, 3 days a week, I don't go to school anyway, I might as well just go to this school. So I was like, yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm there. I mean, I went through the interview process. I mean, it was just bang, bang. I mean, I got right in. And like, as soon as I got to school, it took me aback. I mean, everybody was saying, yeah, the Met, you don't do no work. You just go in there, you have fun. I'm like, all right, so I'm going to do good in this school. So I go in, and I mean, the place really took me aback. I mean, my first 2 years was just crazy. I mean, I've had a passion for veterinary science. I had an internship at an animal shelter. And then after that, I went to an animal hospital. I mean, I was getting exposure to surgeries, vaccinations, just all types of cool stuff that people don't get to see till after college. And I mean, that was a huge opportunity. The transition into the Met was pretty tough at first. I mean, I wasn't used to having so much freedom, everything depending on me, but it definitely helped me out in the long run. I wasn't going to school as much my first year, but if I have the records to show it, I mean, I really loved my internships. I mean, I went to my internships, but I didn't go to school. So it was like a unbalanced thing there. But I mean, my first 2 years I was doing really good with my internships, but I wasn't really understanding the Met. It was too different for me. Coming my junior year, I started really focusing. I was like, okay, 2 years from now I'm gonna go to college. I mean, I gotta start rolling. So I've had a recent change in passion. I went from going into veterinary science, from going there to something in business. I mean, the beautiful thing about the Met is that I found that in those 4 years that you go to the Met, you can really start feeling out where you want to do, what you want to do, and make sure that you really have your mindset. So after that, I was like, okay, I don't want to really deal with animals. I mean, the whole idea of cleaning up poop on the table and all that wasn't really my thing. So I started looking at mechanics, auto mechanics. And then I was like, hey, you know what? I'm really good at talking. I can really talk with people. I'm going to go see how the business world is like. And I went out and got a real nice internship at Citizens Bank headquarters, right on Westminster, right in the administrative offices. And I was working there, and it was just really, really, really good experience. It was my first step into corporate America. I found it to be very different. I mean, my mentor always used to come in and say, first thing you got to do, check your emails. And I mean, it was really good exposure. I mean, for a high school student of 16 years old to experience that, I mean, it's definitely different. Really changed my whole perspective on life. And I did that for 10 months, and now that I'm in my senior year, I'm at MetLife Insurance Company. as a paid internship, and all that money is going into a scholarship for me for next year. And the Met has really helped me start to get my life rolling. And my STP project, which is, sorry for the acronyms, but it's a senior thesis project that every senior has to go through. And I'm going to run a marathon in January, and I'm training for that. It's real intense. I mean, I figure if I'm going to do something, I want to make sure that it tones me mentally and physically. So I've been working on that. And I mean, yeah, the Met has definitely been very positive, and I can imagine life very different without it. So thank you for listening to my story.
Now I see you learn to dress like that at Citizen. And now we give a hand for Lucy, another student, the junior.
I'm really nervous, so stay with me here. My name is Lucy. I'm a junior at the Met High School. I'm 15 years old, and I devote most of my time to my two baby brothers. My mother is mentally and emotionally unavailable, and my father had left me when I was 10 years old. Because of this, I feel obligated to play both the mother and father role in my brothers' lives, such as cooking, cleaning, managing the bills, attending student, parent, teacher conferences, and all the other big and little responsibilities a parent has. I live in this really terrible neighborhood where I've witnessed many deaths, and this makes it really hard and exhausting for me to try to keep my boys and I safe. So now that you know just a little about me, I'm gonna tell you why I came to the Met. I knew I needed to be in a place where I can challenge myself academically and also create my own learning in harmony with my schedule outside of school. And I also knew if I were placed in a traditional school, there would have been only one relationship developed from it, which would have been the book and I. I didn't want that. I wanted to build strong relationships with mentors, teachers, professors, and other great adults out in the real world. And that's what the Met has provided for me. It's provided me a relationship I'll always treasure and never forget, and that's the relationship I have with my advisor, Eric Alvarez. Conveniently, Eric babysat me when I was younger because he's a really close friend of the family, and now I'm with him throughout my high school career, and he's been very supportive through everything because of being aware of not only my academic circumstances, but also my personal. So during my time at the Met, I joined the Providence Youth Student Movement, where we advocate for the Southeast Asian community, and there I was fighting for better communication for Southeast Asian families within the Providence Public School Department, for students, parents, and teachers to be well aware of their students' academic performance. Unfortunately, as some of you may have read in the articles, I was criticized for speaking out on how vital it was for Rhode Island to provide and have Southeast Asian interpreters and translators. I was really hurt, confused, and lost because I was being criticized by an adult who didn't even know me. And just being a teenager, and as a young teenager, I didn't know how to handle it. So before stepping out, I used my leadership skills that I gained from the organization to facilitate an orientation for the new coming youth. So now I'm currently working on my senior thesis project, which is facilitating a self-esteem curriculum for young teenage girls. I'm working on this project because I just feel that it's important for girls to understand why they make the decisions they make, and also to develop self-acceptance and love. For this curriculum, a survey was conducted on their sexual activity, behavioral issues, and family household circumstances. I'm also currently fundraising for money to get supplies such as books, notebooks, folders, and other materials needed for me to get through this curriculum successfully. Another thing I've done at the Met is taken a science course at Hasbro Children's Hospital, a math lab at the community college nearby, and also an activism practicum class at Brown University. And although this is my junior year, I'm applying to colleges a year early because I feel after completing high school, it'd be much easier and I'd be more free to provide for my boys and my family. And of course, the Met has been very supportive through the senior year and this college process, and I couldn't have asked for a great experience or a better high school. Thank you for listening.
I should be done now, but they always do way better. So basically, there was a giant survey done of all high school students in this country, and they asked them to come up with one word that describes their high school. What do you think the word was? Boring. Sad we know it too, you know. And our school is not boring, and Elliot and I were committed to have an engaged place, to just look at the student, find their interest and passion, find adults out in the community, connect them up to those adults every Tuesday and Thursday. And when they're back at school Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, do the English. We don't have regular classes. We do the English, the science, the math, all integrated there. They have the access to go because it's their own schedule. Everyone's got their own plan to go out to college classes. So it just makes sense. It's how you learn in the world. You don't learn by 45 minutes in a class, ring a bell, go to another class, ring a bell. You don't learn that way. So we started and everyone kind of laughed at us in '95. Like, what are they doing? No classes, just like Melvin. Oh, 3 days a week. I like that, man. And then what happened? They started looking at our attendance. 97% attendance. The rest of the city had 77%. Then they started looking at dropout. 2% of our kids were dropping out. The city was 46%. So they stopped laughing a little bit. Then it became senior year. Every one of our kids got accepted to college with good bucks going. And then they went, whoa. And that's when young Bill Gates, old Bill Gates, sent his top education man down to see us, Tom Vander Ark. And I had a good history in the past, except my firings, of running schools. And he came down, and he's talking to Elliot and I. This is just when they started getting into education, year 2000. Talking to Elliot and I, and then the guy was smart enough to say, you guys are BSing me. That's nice, I like it, but let me go talk to the kids. And said it was at noon, and I'm going into the cafeteria. And we were in the Shepherd building. There were all kinds of other people in the cafeteria. And then I think, oh my gosh, I had this one girl, Susan, who actually, the reason she came to our school was to organize the Latino girls. She thought the school was small enough. And every day in the cafeteria, she'd say, fuck, like 5 times. I already warned them I was going to say this, man. They've heard the word before. They taught me, actually. And I go, oh my gosh, this is what the head of Gates is coming in. And then I think Susan was absent that day. And I go, yes, what a day. And Tom was in there for an hour, came out and said, I'm amazed. I pushed your students hard. Here's $5 million. Give me 12 schools around the country. And we did that. And we could pick wherever we wanted. We picked nice, pretty places where our friends were. And then he came back and said, give me 40 more, gave us another $15 million. We now have today 72 schools around the country that follow this philosophy. We have 7 in the Netherlands. We have 2 in Australia. And we got asked to put the first high school in Liberia. And I don't know if it will happen because the situation over there. But when I asked why us, they said 2 things. One, you have the kind of environment that can help heal the country. We've been fighting. All the different tribes have been fighting. You could heal the country. 2, they were smart enough to know we can't sit the kids down and just be reading textbooks. We got a lot of problems to solve in this country. So it should be your students working on how to get clean water, how to bring electricity to the country. So again, I'm very excited and proud of that. Will it happen? I'm not sure. But then we started thinking, okay? And you start looking, we're doing a longitudinal study because I want to know who our kids are. A professor from BC is doing a study, and our kids are doing pretty well in terms of staying in college. There's close to 70% that have either graduated or still in. But you look at the data nationally, okay? If you're a black or Hispanic low-income kid, there's a 10% chance you graduate from college. You know, it's repulsive. You know, that means 90% of these students that are going off to college aren't making it. And it ain't all their fault. Colleges are saying, oh, the student's not ready. Well, they're never ready enough. But colleges have not been able to change. I just looked at the data. It's so sad of our Rhode Island colleges, and one college has 1% black kids, 2% Hispanic. Another has 2% black kid. The highest had 5%, okay? So somehow we have to change things. And that's when I wrote to Gates. I hadn't met him. I had dinner with him at his house November 10th, finally. But I said, it's like if you gave half a vaccination. Just having great high schools, which has been their emphasis, is not enough. You have to continue on. A high school degree is not enough. You got to go those following years. You got to get kids with certifications, bachelor's degrees. And they're finally, November 11th, they will announce that they're now looking at the 18 to 24-year-olds. So we've pushed them in that way. So then we said, okay, we're going to start a college. So stop laughing, Steve. So in September, we're going to open up a college. It's called College Unbound. I have partners here that are doing. This is Jamie right there. Raise your hand. Mickey from RISD's helping us over there. I don't know if Tara's here at all. Are you here? Maybe not. So we've been going around. We have a partner. We have a partner, Unity College, that's going with us to help us with all the certifications and the accreditations. We're going to take our first 10 students in the fall, and we're going to try to build a college in the same way that we built the high school. The college is going to be around innovation and entrepreneurship, and then take your interest. And whatever your interest is, we're going to build that innovation and entrepreneurship. And we think we're going to graduate students that not only have that broad knowledge, but they're also going to have those specific skills. So they're going to be out. You're going to like this one, Melvin. You're going to be applying, man. They're going to be out with an internship 3 days a week. Then 2 days a week, they're going to be back with seminars, with professors, doing individual work with tutors. And we think we can graduate 90% of the students. That is our goal. And the interesting piece is also students are graduating with, I had a kid, I tried to convince him not to go to Morehouse. He had to take out a personal loan for his family, $25,000 a year. He's graduating with $100,000 in debt. So we've tried to work out this system, looking at the workforce in Rhode Island, looking at the economics, to have our kids do paid internships so that they are working side by side with the innovators, with the entrepreneurs, getting paid. That money's coming back to the college, so they're not going to have that kind of depth. And I don't know if Jeff Yan is here. Jeff, are you here anywhere? Are you here? Yeah. Jeff, stand up for a second. Is that as we're going around, I'm going to hit you all, was the first person that said, I will take a paid internship. I only have a company of 10 people. It's called Digication, but I will pay for a kid because I care about this. And you stood up and they're the first, so thank you. Give them a little... So the other piece that Sal was saying that's exciting, we're not just looking to develop a nice little school. We're looking to change policy and practice in this country. And this is how we're doing it. And that's why we're going together with BIF and Sal to make this a national lab, to make this a place where first local colleges will come and look at, then people are going to come from all over the place. We already have 2 colleges, one in Massachusetts and one in New Hampshire, that said they want to scale this up. We haven't started yet, but they want to scale this up. So now we will have a lab together. They can come and learn, and we can start spreading this and change the way college, the way they teach, the way the finances are. And I think if we don't make a decision to start looking as who's going to college now and the necessity of changing that, we're in trouble. So last night when I was at the bar, I don't know if these guys were drunk. I don't want to embarrass them, but I started going around in my entrepreneurial way, and hi, I'm Dennis Littky. We're looking for an intern. Yes. And I got Chris from Amgen said yes. I got John and Dave. If you're out there and you don't remember it, I'll throw the card away. From APC, I got Humana. And so I went home last night and I'm going, wow, this is kind of amazing that it was kind of that easy. I don't know if it will really happen. And then I realized that this group is a very special group. If you paid kind of money to come here, to sit 2 days, to take out of your work, that says you are really committed. These are the people. That's what's exciting about. You are the people who are committed to the innovation and entrepreneurship. And so we're going to be hitting you up. And I have a little card. I figured Sal might be mad at me doing this, but I'm obnoxious and an entrepreneur. that people are going to start passing out, and it's going to ask, do you want to serve in an advisory board? Do you want to come and just work with kids over a weekend, have dinner with them? Do you want to have an intern? But we need you. I'm tired of businesses saying kids are coming out not well prepared. We want to be part of it. We want you to be the professors, the people in the program. And so just before I end, I almost forgot here. We brought you, we have a very entrepreneurial school. I took Mark Echo over yesterday. I said, come on over for a minute, Mark, just before your train. I hopped him in the car, and my co-director had brought a couple hundred people into our black box with big signs, and he walked in, oh my gosh. And so we had a great time. And that's partly making school exciting. So we've started a business. You guys want to pass that out? Devron, stand up. Say something about this. Talk loud. We didn't mic you, man.
Basically, this is the Big Picture Soda Company, and I'm the sales manager of this company. It's been in business for over 2 years. It started in 2006 by Yesenia Mikado and DJ Hall. And we have 3 different flavors. We have sparkling water, diet, and all passion fruit.
That's it. Now go pass it out. Give people, because you. I'm done. Yeah. So the last thing is Sal's cutting me off. Is I read a Gandhi quote that said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. So I ask all of you to be involved, and let's win this thing together. Thank you.